Hi, welcome to Freedom Express by Coachmen 301 BLDS. We're going to take you on a tour and we're going to start on the outside. First thing we'll come to is this access door here, and what this is, we'll remove the safety latch, pull this out, and you have an outdoor barbecue. All you need is your own bottle and a hose to attach it to your barbecue. Next, we'll look at the front storage compartment. Here you'll find access to under your bed storage as well as the storage compartment on the other side, but you'll also see that we have your manual crank for your stabilization jacks and your tongue jack. Continue along the front. You'll see that this unit has some extra storage, which is nice and handy, and the battery storage compartment is right underneath, as well as your spare tire. Coming around the front, take a look at your propane storage system. We have a crossover regulator, which, when you see the handle here, is pointing to this tank. When this tank's pressure drops below a predetermined amount, this regulator will automatically cross over and start drawing propane from this regulator, whether or not you touch this switch at all. So that means you don't have to get out in the middle of the night if you have the furnace on and switch tanks. Next, we'll take a look at your electric tongue jack. First thing I want to point out is the rubber stopper on the top. This is a port for the manual crank that I mentioned earlier that is located in the front storage compartment. Nice loading light that's useful at night, as well as the normal up and down functions. Continue along the front, you'll notice the breakaway switch. This one end remains attached to the pin and the other end is attached to the tow vehicle. In the event that the tow vehicle becomes separated from your RV, this pin will be engaged and pulled from the breakaway switch, and that will engage your trailer brakes. In the event that you go to tow your trailer and it feels like it's not towing right or the brakes are stuck on, this would be one of the first places I'd come look. It does happen sometimes that when you're unhooking and hooking, this gets caught and pulled, and even if it's not pulled all the way out, it could be just out a bit. So I would look here. Now continue to look closer at the storage compartment for the battery. We'll also notice that there is a disconnect. All that means is you can leave the battery totally connected, but disconnect it from the rest of the trailer so it won't be putting a draw on the battery. Continue on the front, we'll see the access for the off-door side of the front storage. And we'll drop down and take a look at your front stabilization jack. It's important to note that there are 4 of these located at the 4 corners of the trailer. They're used to stabilize the trailer, not to level it. So it's important to have the trailer mostly level before you engage these jacks. Come to the outside access for your hot water tank. A couple things to make note of. 1 being the pressure relief valve, and 2 being the drain. If you're ever removing this drain plug, it's important that you relieve the pressure by opening this valve first. Otherwise, this thing will come shooting out like a rocket. Next, you'll see we have the main input for your cable TV, or cable for satellite. And right next to that, we have your city water connection. So this is where you put that that hose, basically a garden hose from the campground. And right beside that, we have your shower. Right above there, we have your new sewer hose. And below all of this, we we have your output for your black and gray water tanks, as well as the black and gray water valves. And the next thing we'll come to is your 30 amp power supply. This is where you connect the trailer to the campground power or to the power at your house. We have provided a different cord end to go with the provided cord, so you can also plug it into a 15 amp circuit. See the rear door for your toy hauler, and we'll also see that there's 2 floodlights out the back, so that when the gate is down, there's lots of loading light. I'll show you where to switch those on from the inside of the trailer. To open the door, we want to flip the lock back and then open the handle. We do that both sides. Now it's important to know that this door is heavy. It says so right there, so it's got to be true. So when you do bring it down, make sure you walk it down with your hands, and I would advise using 2 people just to make sure that you're good and safe. A couple things we want to note in this area. One, we have your awning, and we also have speakers. 1, 2. Those speakers can be used to play music from your radio inside the trailer on the outside. Under the awning here, you'll see that we have the venting for your refrigerator. And it's very important that this remains clear of any obstructions, as air is needed to flow freely through here in order for your refrigerator to function properly. Below that, we have the inlet for your fresh water tank. This is where you'd put your clean drinking water into the holding tank, so you could use it where there's no fresh water. And right next to this, it does say hot on it, but I find it's important to note that the exhaust for your furnace does get very hot. And I mention it specifically when it's underneath your awning, because there's more of a chance that you may come in contact with it. So that about wraps up the outside. Let's open the door here and we'll go in and take a look. So we're going to enter into the back cargo area. First thing you'll notice, I have the seating up. Now, this isn't all the way up. The controls for it are here. I can go up further. We will notice though that with the couches in the up position, you won't be able to go all the way up to the top. So now you can bring your gear in here. This is all open. If you need more room, you can fold those couches down. So on the outside door, and I apologize for it being a little dark, but I've got the couches up, so it's not a lot of light. So all around the door here, we have this screen that's all rolled up. If you unroll that screen, you can bring it right down, have your gate open. But the reason why I show you the screen is that when we bring down the benches here, you'll notice that this bench faces this way, so you can interact with everybody inside the trailer if you want. But the back bench is kind of neat. It actually faces the opposite way. And that is so, if you want, you can have the whole back open, and like a big screen patio door. So there, right along the top is the screen. So I just wanted to make sure you saw that. That's kind of a neat feature. And I'll also show you that this can be used as a bed. So to use it as a bed, you click it all the way forward, click it all the way forward. There you go. Now it's a bed. Pull it up, wait for the first click. Now it's a couch again. Alright, let's move on. We'll talk about your emergency exits here. Same as traditional. You push down on the black tab, push the red handle over. You can push the red handle all the way out of the trailer. And once the handle is free of the trailer, you can pull this red tab, pull the screen out, and you can escape to safety. So before, we talked about on the outside, you had those spotlights. This switch does the in-house lights, but this next switch actually works the floodlights on the back of the trailer. We'll see here that you also do have a mounting position, cable output, and 120 volt power if you chose to mount a TV here. So we'll come on into the main living area. We'll notice that you can close yourself off from the toy hauler portion of the RV, which I kind of like this feature with the patio door. It allows the trailer to be very open if you don't have any cargo in there, but it also allows you to seal out all the fuel smell and all that if you are in fact hauling. So I do like that. We have your slide out and lots of seating, but importantly we have your stereo, and this stereo has DVD capabilities. You can put SD cards in it as well as USB. What you can also do with this is there's 3 speaker zones. 2 of them are inside the trailer, and the third one is for the outside. So you can listen to your music on the speakers that I showed you earlier outside. We'll show you the AC unit. Importantly, I'll note the baffles here. With the baffles closed, it'll force the air conditioning to the ports throughout the trailer. With the baffles open, it will force the majority of the air to fall right here. If you talk about your Dometic fridge, basic on-off switch. If the button's depressed in, it's on. With this second button out, that's set up for gas. If there is no light on right here, your gas is functioning properly. If you see that light on, that means you have an issue and you need to check it. Either the valves weren't open on your tanks to begin with, or you just opened your valves and it just hasn't had enough time to build up pressure to light the fridge. In that instance, I would turn it off, wait a few minutes, and just relight, and there should be enough pressure at that point to light. If you press this button all the way in, this will light up and show you that it's on auto. That will switch you automatically between gas or electric. It'll default to choosing electric if it's present. So we'll come to your range top. This range top lights. You put it in the light position and it lights by automatic spark. So put it in the light position, turn the sparker, should light the burner. That works for all 3 of these. However, the oven portion, you have to turn it to the pilot on position, push it in for the gas to be released, but then you manually, and it's going to be hard to show, but you manually have to light or ignite the flame. Continue on. And we'll talk a little bit about your power center here. So this power center has breakers like you would see in your house, as well as fuses like you might see in your vehicle. Any sort of electrical issue, I would look and just make sure that all the fuses and breakers are good. The breakers are just like your house; they'll be flipped back, but you might not always be able to tell. Sometimes they get tripped and they still look like they're in the on position. So flick it all the way off, turn it all the way back on, and that will let you know for sure whether it was reset. Here you'll see a little red light indicating that one of the fuses are burnt out. So it's a little easier to see. Right inside the rear, or the front door, I guess, we have your fire extinguisher. And we have a couple switches here. One switch is for your awning, for the in and out, and the other switch is for your slide. Now notice another key piece of safety equipment. We have your propane carbon monoxide detector. It's a good idea to check this every once in a while to make sure it's functioning properly, and you can do that by pressing this little button here on the front. It'll sound off a series of beeps, then go back to have it being quiet with the green light on. That means it's okay and good to go. I would check it every 6 months or so, and usually I suggest you do it when you check your smoke detector. An easiest way to do, or remember to do that, is to do it daylight savings time. So every 6 months, time changes. Check your smoke detector and check your propane carbon monoxide detector. We'll come to your thermostat. Further on off. You keep cycling through this mode or on off button and it'll cycle through fan, cool, and furnace, and you can switch high, low, and adjust the temperature on the side here. Right next door to this we have your indication panel with your battery lights, your freshwater indicators, black and gray water tank indicators, as well as switching for your water heater on gas and electric, and your water pump. Other big things we need to talk about is the GFCI for the unit. If it ever gets tripped, you'll see that yellow light come on. What that will mean for you is that any plug you have that's outside or on a counter, probably near water especially, probably won't work, as it'll be on the load side of this. So if some of those plugs aren't working, come and find this attached to your sink here and just see if that's lit, and if it is, press the reset button, the light goes away, and now everything should work just fine. Something that you might want to know is the access for the inside portion of the hot water tank is here. It's underneath this board. A few screws, undo them, and you can remove that one panel. Why would you need to do that? Well, the hot water tank is accessible, or you need it to be accessible, so during winterization, if you are winterizing your trailer yourself, you will want to set up the bypass valves to bypass the water tank so you're not filling it with antifreeze, as it doesn't need to be, it can just be drained. If you're not doing it yourself and you're going to get somebody else to do it, or us to do it, then you don't need to worry about that. But if you do, there's the access to it right underneath the bed. Also, while we're talking about winterizing, we have in here a couple red Robbie screws. You take those out, and in this access below your oven we have your water pump. Similar to your hot water tank, there's a valve that you can use to cycle it between basically a summer mode and a winter mode. One location of the valve is used to draw water from the freshwater tank we talked about earlier, and the other position of the valve is used to draw water from the fill hose, which you would use to fill the system with antifreeze. Well, that about covers it. If there's anything that you would like to know more about, or you feel like there was something that I didn't cover in enough detail, that's okay. Give us a call and we'll do our best to make sure you have all the information you need to enjoy your RV. Thank you.